They told me to walk. They told me to cut the salt. They told me to take my pills. So I did. Every day. For 2 years after my heart attack, I followed every rule. But last month, my doctor looked at me and said something that felt like a punch to the chest. "Harold, your blood pressure's rising again." I didn't say a word, because what could I say? I had no more tricks. No more willpower left. Just a tired heart, and a mind quietly asking, is this how it ends? Slowly. Powerlessly. That night, I couldn't sleep. My thoughts circled one question. I did everything right. So why is my heart still struggling? At 3:12 a.m., I searched for something desperate on my phone. Natural ways to lower blood pressure. Between turmeric tea and deep breathing apps, I stumbled on 2 words that made me raise an eyebrow. Laughter yoga. It sounded like nonsense, like a magazine fad next to a tofu recipe. But I was at the end of my rope. So the next morning, I closed my door, sat on the edge of my bed, and forced a laugh. Just one. It felt hollow. Embarrassing. But I did it again the day after. And the day after that. And here's what changed everything. I started tracking everything: blood pressure, saliva, cortisol, mood, sleep, and turned it into a 30-day challenge. Not to be funny, but to survive. Because when medicine fails, you look for something older than medicine, something that lives in the bones, not in a bottle. You look for a reason to laugh again. And in that moment, I realized. I had tried every pill and protocol, and when I thought I was done, I discovered that blood pressure isn't just about salt and pills. It's about the tension we carry in our hearts and minds. Stay with me. On day 17, something happened that didn't cure me, but brought me back to life. I still remember it was 2:47 a.m. when, bleary-eyed, I found myself Googling chronic stress heart risk. That's when I stumbled onto the American Heart Association's warning: chronic stress can increase stroke and heart attack risk by up to 40%. My blood ran cold. It wasn't my salt intake or skipped pills, it was my own mind putting my heart under siege. Digging deeper, I read on time that stress triggers an adrenaline and cortisol flood, which tightens blood vessels, spikes blood pressure, and, if left unchecked, causes chronic inflammation and damage to the vessel lining. Suddenly, everything clicked: the tension in my jaw, the crushing weight across my chest, the shallow panting I'd learned to ignore, all were whispers of cortisol's silent assault. Cortisol, it turned out, is the adrenal hormone meant to help us fight or flee. But when levels stay high day after day, it not only keeps our blood vessels constricted but also drives the liver to release extra sugar, promotes belly fat, and fans constant low-grade inflammation. I even found a Johns Hopkins study showing that just 5 minutes of simulated laughter can slash cortisol levels by 30%, and a Journal of Applied Physiology article proving that laughter boosts our internal nitric oxide, instantly relaxing our arteries and lowering blood pressure. The real breakthrough came when I remembered a Stanford cardiologist's TED Talk line: think of laughter as exercise for your cells. That very morning, I sat on my bed, took a deep breath, and forced out a few seconds of ha ha ha, ha ha, hoo. It felt absurd, almost embarrassing. Yet when I measured my pressure afterward, it was a few points lower than usual. Encouraged, I jotted down that reading, my sleep quality, and my mood in the laughter yoga tracker I'd sketched up. By day 10, I woke up free of that lead weight in my chest. No more jaw tension. No more gasp for air moments, just calm. It wasn't magic, it was momentum: 5 minutes of deliberate laughter each morning, slowly rewiring my stress response. If you're curious, the free 5-minute laughter yoga tracker link is below. Maybe your body isn't broken, it's just been bracing under too much cortisol for too long. Stay with me, because next up I'll share exactly how those simple laughs unlocked my mornings and healed my heart. Day 13. That was the morning I almost gave it all up. The laughter. The challenge. The whole idea that joy could somehow fix what pills hadn't. I didn't forget to laugh. I didn't run out of time. I just lost the why. I sat by the window like every other morning. Same mug. Same chair. Same quiet house. But something felt off. Empty. I played the recording, the one I usually laugh along with. But this time, it felt hollow. Like I was imitating someone I didn't know anymore. And then this thought came. Harold, you're 76 years old. And you're sitting alone in a room. Fake laughing into a phone. What are you doing? I felt ridiculous. Not just silly, but small. Like I was chasing something I couldn't reach. My chest tightened. Not from heartache. But from a kind of quiet disappointment. I wanted to believe in this challenge. I needed to believe. But on day 13, I sat there. Eyes open. Hands still. And didn't laugh. For the first time in 13 days. I just stared. At the window. At the fog. At nothing. And in that silence. Not the peaceful kind. But the heavy kind. Something broke. Not loudly. Not dramatically. Just a little crack. That's when Duke walked in. Slow. Lazy. Old Duke. He plopped down in front of me. Let out a long sigh through his nose. And gave me the look. The one that says, "What's wrong with you, human?" And that was it. No punchline. No funny joke. Just an old dog being himself. I laughed. Not a lot. Not loud. But real. And that one laugh. It loosened something in my chest. A knot I didn't know I'd tied. It reminded me. Maybe this challenge wasn't about laughing on cue. Maybe it was about making space. Quiet space. So the real laugh could come back in. Since that day, I stopped trying to be a comedian in the morning. Now I just sit. Breathe. Notice. The way the wind hits the trees. The sound of the heater clicking on. The weird way Duke sleeps with one ear up. And if laughter comes, I let it. If not, I breathe anyway. So if you're trying this too, and you've hit your own day 13, don't walk away. Let the silence be awkward. Let the morning be flat. Let the laugh be missing. And then wait. Because sometimes, healing arrives not as a roar, but as a chuckle you didn't expect. Day 17. By then, I had almost forgotten why I started. Some mornings, I did it out of habit. Others, out of obligation. And on most days, if I'm being honest, I still felt a little foolish. Laughing alone in my living room. Like a man trying to hold on to something that had already left. But that night, the night before day 17, something strange happened. I slept. Not a nap. Not a few hours. But a full, uninterrupted, 7-hour sleep. It had been over 2 years since I'd done that. No, waking up at 2:43, checking if I was still breathing. No anxiety dreams. No pacing the hallway. Just silence. And rest. When I opened my eyes that morning, I felt something I hadn't felt in a long, long time. I didn't feel afraid. I wasn't waiting for pain. I wasn't scanning my chest for tightness. I wasn't bracing. I just was. I sat down like always. Blood pressure cuff on one side. Journal on the other. And started laughing. Fake, like always. But halfway through, I paused. Something felt different in my body. So I checked my pressure. 118/72. I stared. That number hadn't shown up in over 2 years. Before the ER. Before the pills. Before I learned the word stent. And in that exact moment, I laughed. But not because I forced it. Not because the routine told me to. Because it burst out of me. And then, just as quickly, I started crying. I don't know if you've ever laughed and cried at the same time. It's not pretty. It's messy. It's raw. But it's also real. And in that messy moment, something broke open inside me. I remembered the man I used to be. Not before the heart attack. But long before that. The man who danced with his wife in the kitchen. Who laughed until he wheezed. Who looked in the mirror and didn't see a patient. Just a person. And for the first time since all this began, I didn't feel like I was surviving. I felt like I was returning. Returning to myself. The real Harold. Not the man in the hospital gown. Not the man staring at numbers on a screen. But the one who loved mornings. Who loved the quiet. Who loved the simple joy of being alive. That morning, I made a decision. This wasn't a challenge anymore. It wasn't about proving something. It was about reclaiming something. So if you're still watching, if you're still wondering if this can work, let me tell you this. On day 17, I didn't just see a better number. I saw myself. When I started this laughter challenge, I didn't tell anyone. No announcements. No posts. Not even a word to my daughter. It felt too small. Too strange. Too personal. Honestly, I didn't expect anyone to care. I thought this would be just me. An old man with a camera. Chasing something soft and silly. But after day 17, I uploaded the video. Quietly. No fancy titles. Just the truth. I laughed for 17 days, and something changed. And then, the comments started coming in. Not likes. Not emojis. Stories. People said, I tried this with my husband this morning, we laughed until our coffee spilled. I haven't laughed in months. I started with 2 minutes. Now I'm at 7. I showed this to my mom, she hasn't smiled since Dad passed, and today, she giggled. I read every single one. All of them. I sat there. With tears in my eyes. And realized something that hit deeper than any blood pressure reading ever could. I wasn't doing this alone anymore. Other people, strangers, were beginning their day one. Some laughed in kitchens. Some are in nursing homes. Some in the dark. But they laughed. And every day, a few more joined. Not because I was a doctor. Not because they believed in science. But because they saw an old man trying. And they said, maybe I can try too. One woman wrote, Harold, you permitted me to smile again. Not because life got easier. But because I remembered I'm still alive. That comment sits in my notebook. Right next to my blood pressure log. Because honestly, that one line lowered my heart rate more than anything else ever has. We started a little group. Nothing fancy. Just people like me. And maybe like you. Showing up every day. Laughing for 5 minutes. And writing down what changes. If you're watching this, and you felt alone in your struggle, in your healing, in your trying again, let this be your sign. You're not the only one laughing in the dark anymore. We're in this together. Come join us. People ask me now, Harold, what exactly did you do during those 5 minutes a day? And I get it. Because if you tell someone, I laughed every morning, it sounds like nothing. But let me tell you what happened. Not just in my body. But in my morning, I'd wake up, make a cup of coffee, sit by the window where the light hits best, put my phone on silent. Then I'd breathe. Just sit in silence for 1 minute. Let the morning arrive. Then I'd smile. Even if I didn't feel like it. Even if nothing was funny. And then, I'd begin. 1 minute of fake laughing. It sounds silly, I know. But science shows that even simulated laughter triggers the same chemical response. Endorphins. Dopamine. Lower cortisol. I just made the sounds. Ha ha ha, heh heh, hoo. No need to force a story. Just let the rhythm carry me. Then I'd add in breath. Inhale through the nose. Exhale with a soft, laughing sigh. HAA. That part calmed me. Then came what I called my free laugh. I'd close my eyes. Picture something absurd. The way Duke snores with his tongue out. The time I spilled soup at my daughter's house. And for 1 minute, I'd just laugh. Real or not, it didn't matter. What mattered was the release. The last minute. Stillness. Eyes closed. Hands on chest. Breathing slowly. That's when I'd whisper to myself. You're alive today. You made it. And that is enough. That's it. 5 minutes. Every morning. No equipment. No app. No one needed to know. But those 5 minutes. They gave me back something no pill ever did. Ownership of my morning. Ownership of my life. So now, when someone says, Harold, what can I do to feel again? I say this. Start with 5. Sit down. Breathe. Smile. Laugh, even if it feels ridiculous. And then, stay. Stay with your breath. Stay with your heart. Because healing doesn't need an audience. It just needs permission. You know what no doctor ever told me? That joy is medicine. Not the kind in a bottle. But the kind that shows up when you're sitting under a tree. When you hear your grandchild laugh through a video call. Or when you laugh at your silliness, alone in the kitchen. For years, I tracked my blood pressure. Every number, every spike, every pill. But I never thought to track my laughter. Until last month. My cardiologist, a man who's seen everything, leaned back in his chair and said, Harold, your heart doesn't just need less salt. It needs more softness. That night, I watched a clip of myself laughing. Laughing. Eyes closed. Shoulders shaking. And you know what I saw? A man who looked alive. So, I made a quiet promise. To give my heart 5 minutes of laughter every day. No matter what. And now, I want to invite you. Not to impress anyone. Not to fix everything overnight. But to remind your body, and your soul. That healing can start with a smile. For the next 30 days, I'll be here. Every morning. Sharing a laugh, a breath, a pause with you. I made a little tracker. Simple. Printable. Personal. Link below. And if you want to do this with me, type, Day 1, let's laugh, Harold. Because maybe what your heart needs. There isn't more control. It's more joy.